Well, hello everyone. My name is Vinay, and I am the founder and president of We Are Listening. Today, we are going to speak about code switching. What is code switching? I would like to introduce all of you to my team, ladies.
Hello, my name is Antoinette, and I am co founder and director at We Are Listening.
And hello, I am Cassandra, one of the directors and mentors for We Are Listening, and welcome to our Code Switch edition.
Okay,
Oh,
guys. Okay.
switching. That is
We
fun.
don't we don't really we
We
don't really sound like
completely.
that. That's not us.
Okay. Today, we are talking about just being able to be who we are, no matter
Yes.
where we work, no matter who we're talking to. Do you find that you speak differently if you're talking to a different boss, or you're speaking to, a friend at work, but then when you go in to speak to your boss, do you change the way you talk? Do you change how you sound? Do you put on your professional voice?
Mhm.
Ladies.
I it depends on who I'm talking to. So I work in human resources. So people are always calling. So when I answer my phone, I answer, human resources, my work voice. But if it's someone that I know, I'm like, what up? How you doing?
Exactly. Yes,
You
yes.
good? What time we going to lunch?
Right.
So, because not everyone can get to see that side. But it is unfortunate that certain aspects of our personality, certain aspects of who we
Mhm.
are deemed unprofessional. And who gets to make those rules on what's professional versus unprofessional?
Right.
Okay,
Exactly. And I mean, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Oh, okay, I was going to say what gets on my nerves for me, um, hair. Like, how can you tell me the way that I wear my hair is not professional? Like, without my braids, my hair is just naturally curly. Sometimes I'll wear it in like a fro, and it's like, oh, like you should do something. Do what? I'm just waking up and letting my hair be what it is. But for some reason, we have it in our brain that if it's not straight, or if it doesn't look a certain way, that it's not professional. And we go out of our way to try to make it fit into this cookie cutter look that they want, but we're not
Yeah.
cookie, all different. So I,
Right.
I'm
I
glad
mean,
to,
how much money was spent on perming hair and whatnot to make it look a certain way to the point where they had to actually sign into law, like the Crown Act. Let people wear their hair the way they want to
Right.
wear it.
And that's what I was going to say to you, Aunt, when you said it's not people personally thinking their hair is not, good enough or their hair doesn't look presentable. It's what companies have instilled
Mhm.
in people
Mm-hmm.
that, Black people, specifically that their natural
Usually.
afros are a problem, dreads, having locks. And my thing is, I feel things should be nice and neat now, but
Right.
you should be able to wear your natural hair. I mean, I wouldn't go, I wear my hair straight and I wouldn't have a messy hair and go into work. My hair is all messy, even though it's straight. I make sure it's nice, it's neat, things like that. So I get that part because you want to be presentable. But as far as the natural course of your hair and how your hair grows and how your hair is, should not ever be a problem at any job or anywhere else.
And school
Yeah.
too. Like, I remember one time watching, I don't know what it was, but some girl was like on a basketball court or something, and I think she had beads in her hair or something, and they wouldn't let her play. And her classmates, everyone like got around her and started like taking her hair out for her to help her, her teammate. And it was beautiful to see her teammates come to do what they needed to do to help her, but it was terrible to me that she had to do that. So I am glad that there seems to be this movement with companies to start being
It's
More
aware,
inclusive.
and these, that, what is it, diversity.
inclusivity and diversity.
They're
Yes.
becoming more inclusive.
But I do have a quick question.
Hmm.
If it's beads, I'm right. If it's just braids, no. But if there are beads and they're playing an actual physical sport, that could cause injury on the court. If like the beads popped out, They're loose.
Yeah,
People can fall. I can see
Mhm.
beads being a problem because I mean
yeah. But what if,
that's just safety, you know. But as
yeah,
far as if they were just braids or something like that, no. But if they had beads on the end, I could see that being an issue.
that's a
Just and it
that's a
doesn't,
risk management thing.
yeah, and it
But
doesn't
what about
matter.
the young boy who was wrestling, and they made him cut his locks
Yeah, no.
before his wrestling match? Now, I know people who have locks. They don't grow overnight. This young man had his locks his whole time he was wrestling,
Did he cut
and
them?
now he gets to return. Yeah, he cut them at the tournament
Hmm.
in order to be able to participate. Because for some people, those sports leads to scholarships, leads to college. So you're having these children make these tough decisions. Do I stand on my right to be who I am, or do I cut my locks for a chance to go to college on a scholarship? And
Right.
these are decisions
Unacceptable.
that people shouldn't have to make based
Yeah.
on what's growing out of their head.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody, you know, your hair is your hair. I mean, it is what it is, you know,
Right.
like that's just part of it.
Absolutely.
Also, I feel like too, just to switch it a little bit, and I think it was the funny TikTok that circulated, where the woman was on her phone and you know she was so professional and but she had so much going on in the background but they
Uh,
couldn't see her, they could only hear her. And you know
Right.
she was talking
Hmm.
and as soon as she had a moment she was like, if you don't see, you know, and you heard like her real voice how she really
Right.
would be, but then she came right back and yes ma'am, and you know she just put back on her professional voice. I just think for a lot of us, you know, we feel obligated to, I mean, culturally I feel like we speak differently, you know,
Yeah.
culturally,
Absolutely.
no matter where you're from, if you're from Brooklyn, if you live down south, like we all speak different. And
Yeah.
I feel like we have to put on a certain, we have to be a certain way at work in order for it to be acceptable. And I know for
But,
me,
you know,
a lot of times when I answer the phone, like Cass said, or I think it was you, Aunt, one of you guys, you know, my voice changes right away.
hmm
Oh
hmm
yeah,
Like, you have such a great telephone voice. I'm like, no, that's my professional voice.
I'm at work exactly.
but
Right.
It's
I've
like, oh my
seen
goodness, it's
people.
like that movie. Was it Sorry to Bother You? That movie was all about that. It was all about code switching and
I say
changing
y'all.
your,
I say y'all. And I have to think, it
yeah.
depends on where I am. I have to think when I'm talking, do I say y'all? Do I put y'all in an email? You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You can never really relax because you're always second guessing and wondering how the person on the other end of the phone, the other end of that email, the other side of that the desk, how are they taking what I'm saying or how I look?
Well, I can take it a step further because, you know, I've worked in call centers. And so in call centers, I'm taking calls back to back to back to back. And sometimes you will get someone that's on the other line who sounds and speaks like you.
And you could relax.
And you can relax. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's like, ah, and it's like, and then as soon as that call ends, you have to go to the next one. But you know, it is sad because I remember, and I won't name the company. I used to work for this insurance company before, and I remember there was an irate customer, and he thought that he thought I was Caucasian, and because of that, he started talking about black people to me on the phone, and I was like, he had no idea that I was a black woman, you know, and part of me just it was just a really weird thing to
Mhm.
experience. Still had to be professional in that situation because he was still a client expressing his opinion very distasteful way. So I did kindly when he finished explain to him, I'm sorry sir, but I am African American. And it was just like, what? So I hope it was a lesson for him. You know, we very much know how to be professional and everything, but it's like every day, every time. And you mentioned work, but I know that there are instances sometimes outside of work where you'll code switch when you're around certain people just because it's like, well, I never know who might know this or, you know, so there's always this air or this sense of I have to present this best version of myself. And that could be exhausting. That could be exhausting.
I couldn't imagine having to be like that personally, like in a group of people outside of work. Well, work is work. You have to be professional. I've always chalked it up to be, it's just you're at work and you need to be professional. So if that
Mm-hmm.
differently and pronouncing your INGs and your ERs when normally you may not do that at home, you do what you got to do for work, right? No
Mhm.
matter how you're
Yeah.
educated. I have my master's degree, I'm educated, but I don't pronounce all my INGs and ERs when I'm home. I just don't.
Right.
Because I
Right.
relax
It's
and I
because we're New
speak.
Yorkers. We don't do that.
I just say whatever comes to my head because I'm home, you know?
And people need to know that just because you do that, and I think that the fear may be, or the thought process may be, oh, if they don't pronounce their G's or their R's, that means that they're less intelligent. When
And
it's not the case at all, it's just cultural. It's just the way that we speak.
that's the way that we
Yeah.
speak. So I had an interview a couple of weeks ago, just an interview about me. And, they wanted to make sure that I just be myself.
Hmm.
I said, just act like you're talking to a friend. I said, no, no, you don't want me. Act like I'm talking to a friend, okay?
Be
Because
careful what you wish for.
that's how you think you see me right now. That's not
Hmm.
how you're gonna see me if you see how I talk to a friend.
Right.
So it's always that, some people can live their lives and they're just who they are all the time. But I think us as Black women, us as Black people, we always feel like we have to fit in. We have to go along with the status quo. We have to do what corporate America, wants to see us and view us as. And that makes us be
It's
some
because
when we're in
we
those environments.
we
And again, like
represent more than just us.
right. And like Antoinette said, in some personal groups and personal friends. And
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. I remember going to. I've seen it at a church.
mm,
I've done it
Mm.
at a, I remember going to a predominantly white church and feeling like I had to speak like I did at work just so that I wouldn't be perceived in any other way. Um,
there
so
was also a young lady too that in the past that we were considering working with and partnering with, and she worked for an HBCU. And I can
mhm,
tell the comfort level, even when I knew that she was an African American woman and we were about to get together, like when we talked, it was just chill. There was no,
right.
professionalism. It was more like, oh, we can relate. This is a Black woman. We can talk, just like I would
Mhm.
talk to a friend.
So what would be
A real friend. A real friend.
what's
Right.
the takeaway regarding code switching? What do we want our audience to really know?
That's a good question.
That is no. That's a good question. I think you know know who you are. Know who you are. Know that even if you drop your INGs, even if you drop your ERs, you're still smart. You're still intelligent. You're still
The
professional.
cultural
That does not equate to your intellect at all.
Right.
What grows out of your head does not reflect what is in your head. So just know yourself.
just like people when you could tell, oh, they're from Brooklyn because of the way they say things. The way people in
And because they will tell you they from Brooklyn.
yeah, and yes,
From
from
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn.
Um, and I want you to remember too, when you hear other people that in other countries, they pronounce things differently. They're okay to be themselves. They're in a meeting. I've heard it many, many times.
Yes.
They can be this, their accents, whether they're speaking properly or not, doesn't matter because they have an accent. They're from other countries. You do the same thing. You just make sure when you're speaking that your message is coming across. They understand what you're talking about. You're giving input, you're giving feedback, you're giving problem solving, things like that. But don't dwell on, you know, oops, don't dwell on trying to fit in with the way that you're speaking.
Yeah. And my takeaway would be to just to find a balance between what is professional and who you are as a professional without feeling like you're having to constantly code switch. And it takes practice because you've probably been doing it
Hmm.
but there is a way to get to a point to be yourself, your authentic self, and still be professional. So
Yeah.
we understand. We've been there. You're
Yes,
not.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
All
that's the end of this segment. It was so great speaking with you guys, and thanks for tuning in. If you love this message, you can relate. Hit us in the comments. Let us know. Share it with your other friends. If it's something you're like, oh my goodness, oh my, I was just talking about that, or I feel that way
Yep.
sometimes. It's ridiculous, whatever. Please share it. Please comment. Let us know. And, we are listening. We mentor young ladies 13 to 22. We take
Mhm.
you guys from middle school all the way through college and after, helping you prep career, helping you interview. We have so many workshops that we do online. So stay tuned, follow us, and we will see
Please.
you guys soon.
All right.
Have a
Okay.
good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye.